carry still. TP Jinx. And we did have on screen the Unsealed Spellbook Vladimir in this game. So actually looking for different options. And you know why you go Spellbook? So you can pack in the teleport sometimes, but have the mobility all the time. Now remember, Tahm Kench and Jinx don't have Devour at level 1, so that's one reason why the Jarvan walked up. Even if he used Sweeper, the ward being put down was already enough to avert the ganks, so it does return to a 2v2.
And Layden pushing in, they had to respond to that one as well. So I'll be very excited to see if Kingzone can actually pilot this comp. I feel like it can be kind of dangerous up against a team like Hanwha Life, who, you know, they're in 7th, right? They're kind of that perpetual 6th place team, but I do feel like there are times where teams just don't give them enough credit or respect them enough. But you can see that Kingzone not really expecting their die-hard engage and willingness to just go all in at times in the game.
The way I look at Hanwha Life is kind of a quirk of language in that they're very much glass half full for the first kind of 12 rounds of the season, and then it's glass half empty in the last 6, you know? Like, they can never get over the line. They're always the bridesmaid when it comes to qualifying for playoffs, every time. And I'm sure it gets exhausting for them and their fans, right? Must be so frustrating. We've had multiple seasons where on, like, the last match day they were knocked out into 6th place, so very, very frustrating for them. They've got a huge sponsor. I know Hanwha's not a global name, but is one that has massive weight in Korea. But actually turning it into just even making playoffs, even just making that best-of-3 wildcard match would be so big for them. And does feel like this will be another season where the competition to make top 5 is just too much.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel like too much, especially this season. Especially if, you know, maybe SKT turns it around, somehow gets up there. Then you're looking at one of those teams that are on the left side that is going to be disappointed. Would have to imagine Gen G, but
I mean, who's missing out, right? Gen G, Afrika, Hanwha, SKT, like all these teams are going to try and make it there. Someone has to be bottom 2. Like the easy money is
Griffin
Hanwha,
down on Sandbox.
Like who's for sure? I feel like Griffin is not going to fall out of top 5.
Yeah.
So I think they're for sure there. It feels like Damwon is showing a lot, so given they finished top 5 last season, they're better now. We say Griffin, Damwon, yeah. And then from there, you think Sandbox is looking pretty good.
Yeah, I put my money on Sandbox.
Kingzone, even though they're miring, could they be falling that far? I guess Kingzone is a kind of a maybe. But there's a lot. Afrika could definitely fall out of top 5. Like, they've definitely...
Yeah.
I actually talked to some kind of Korean side people, and I'm like, why is Afrika, like, not the Afrika we saw in week 2? And the answer is it fits into kind of my image of Afrika, sorry. Why Afrika not doing as well in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And the answer I got was actually fits into my image of Afrika in that the success kind of went to the young players' heads, and they just wanted...
oh, the outplay!
Nice.
I love that.
I didn't see it coming. Neither did the Vladimir.
That tiny little second of stealth, and he just denies the overpowered Q and just dunks him down with his own Q.
Wow.
That is just an outplay, plain and simple. As now we got a fight in the bottom side. He is going to flash away as he sees Cuz coming in, but I don't care about that. I want to see the replay.
Man, you watch enough League of Legends that you think you know when no action could happen. He's ghosting back to lane, Valdez. Yeah.
Poor guy.
So let's watch this one. He has a ward in the brush. Is it in the brush? Interesting thing to consider. But he has a ward in the brush, so he should be safe, right? Let's watch how this play happens. It's just about the animation cancel. It's the same as kind of a flash, right? But it's enough to kill him. Oh boy.
Yeah.
And then the need to ghost back to lane also. The fact that it happened at 5 minutes, not 6, makes it extra embarrassing.
All timed out by Rascal, no doubt. Give him all the credit. As now Bono's coming up here, but there's a little ghost Poro. And now he's just going to have to walk in a lane and help push this one down as Rascal has... Okay. Going to get knocked up here, but a TP's coming in, and oh boy, did they go a little bit too far as Tucson. Okay, Rascal is feeling it tonight, He wants to kill, and he's going to get one with the helmet.
Oh.
Tal nearly goes down, but he will survive.
Holy moly, they're punking Hanwha Life in the top side, and Nayeon's having a fun time too.
Shutting down the Azir, telling him whose lane it is right now.
Wow, this game exploded into life out of nowhere for no reason apart from a sick outplay from Rascal. The boy we asked to step up, he's stepping up.
I define that as stepping up. That's one way to put it. Guy is carrying right now. So he baits him into it.
I mean, Bono goes in, I assume, because he just wants to flash so Tal's life is better. And then Rascal just says, damn it, I'm going all in. He hits the E onto Bono and flashes in. The root duration doesn't matter if you're going to go for that quick ult. No Praise Seeker to kill off the Vladimir, but I feel like the business has been done early top lane, and it's going to be a big hole to try to get through.
Not looking too likely, as he's getting some gold, some items, he's stacking that wallet. Fat wads of cash right now. So, in the meanwhile, Kingzone ruling the map, say, okay, let's take an early Cloud Drake and see what it gets us.
Now, the reason for this to be so trivial is the interaction between Jinx and Sivir. It used to be a really important color point in 2015, but we haven't had this matchup since then, basically. Maybe one game in spring. But now that it's a Sivir meta, we're getting some of the old answers to Sivir. So the thing about Jinx is that the moment you get a few more levels into your rocket launcher, the Q, when Sivir walks up, because she's 500 range, the way she works is auto, cancel auto, and you're standing in the ranged minions, which you see here to do that. You auto, cancel auto, throw a Q, hope you have enough AD to instant clear it. At that time, Jinx presses Q, goes into rocket launcher, hits Sivir, and pushes the lane for 20 mana, or whatever it is. So you get a lot there for very little, as Rascal's in trouble.
Yeah, well, you're not going to get out of the Cataclysm. Nice cool timing to avoid that pop loss.
That's the kill.
Down he goes. Pretty easy to be able to convert that one.
Nice and easy, and just like we were saying about Jinx, because you're trading so nice and easily, you just end up having wave control, a health bar lead, and getting through lane as Jinx. And any lane where Jinx goes and gets anything resembling a CS lead, her ability to hyper carry is unparalleled.
Yeah, so, as you mentioned, the lane is going to be good for her. The answers that Hanwha did draft are going to come later on in the game in the team fight, which is one way to handle it. But we'll see what happens as Kingzone is trying to handle Hanwha Life here in the bottom lane to start us off, as Tom Pence going to go for the engage key with the aftershock. They're going to survive for a bit, but down he goes pretty easily. Nice devour there at the last second. Didn't even need the Rek'Sai.
And the Corki, not going to steal the kill, though. You have to give the kill to the Jinx, right? Especially in a game like this, where Jinx needs the gold early because you can't rely on her getting the perfect 6-item fight later. The kill goes over there. Things falling into place. Nice start for the Jinx. She always needs a little bit of tender loving care, but even though there's so many recognized hyper carries in the game, think of Hogmaw back in the day. Hogmaw kind of became a 2-item carry back in the last time it was in meta, but used to be a 6-item. Twitch. Our dive here. Nice and clean from Kingzone, so no need to go over the mechanics of this one, apart from guaranteeing that Nayeon doesn't want to steal the kill. Oh, topside didn't even see Lava getting caught in transition. But when teamfights come, no one can match just the sheer damage of Jinx in minigun form, plus the movement speed to just do unbelievable damage. And when it starts to win, her ability to snowball through a fight, because you're doing attack speed, crit, high damage, and are so hard to click on, is pretty damn unique. And that's what they're trading upon here. Death starts to hit the Rift Herald. Hanwha Life, are they going to fight for this?
Well, Hanwha Life, if they have an opportunity, they'll go for it. But with the big packets coming through, they are zoned out for quite a while. But Key is going in, and even through the aftershock takes a huge amount of damage. But Bono looking for it on the backside, wants Tal to do the damage, but he's not quite able to, as Bono's going to be the first one to go down. Re-engage will come in, but no, the empowered Q doesn't keep him alive. They will trade a couple of members back and forth. It's now Lava looking for it, but has to flash away to respond to Nayeon's flash there. Oh. Ooh, really nice max range hook there by Key. Is going to shut down Deft. in a very flashy fashion.
There's the playmaking from Key that we remember from his Thresh days. Getting the kill onto Deft is a nice little bonus. His flash also on cooldown after this. A lot used by Kingzone. In terms of summoners, not so many from Hanwha Life, but apparently we've got more action. Don't drink that water, Valdez. You gotta talk.
Oh boy, not enough time in this game. As well. Okay.
I baited you.
I suppose there's time. Thank you, Papa Smith.
I baited you. You did the thing where you took the
keeping me on my toes.
You took the 5-cost unit with the tier and you missed the entire IE on a Garen at the left of the carousel. Oopsie by you. It seemed really risky by Hanwha Life. The upshot prop means that Key doesn't die. But the moment you go on to Jinx and she doesn't die at the start, you think things can turn. But if you notice, Jinx doesn't actually get excited. She doesn't get an assist on the kill that happens towards the end, so she's towards the bash. She can't frontline anymore. And Hanwha Life, with flashes up, made some smart calls.
We get it in slow motion, maybe? Yeah. Oh. Max range.
If you get away with it, that's the one. So I follow AFL and we have the score review where you have to make sure that the points actually stand. If you could pause and ask for a review, like, really? Are we sure about the hitbox there?
Yeah.
The hitbox review on Ashe would definitely be illegal. Ashe Arrow's
I mean,
generous hitbox.
We've seen it before, you know. Companies have slowed it down in slow motion and given us that opportunity.
Incriminating results from that.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, Infernal Drake coming in here. Kingzone are up. They already have the one Drake. They're going to be looking to take a second one. You see that Tal here is just running on down from the top lane.
How do you feel about fighting? Because I think both these teams are really excited about it.
All right, here we go. Deft is going to be knocked up, but he stays alive in the backside. And Bono just getting locked down is going to take a huge big one to the face. And that's that Corki coming in, a double kill now with the Gatling gun even to add insult to injury. Kingzone pick up 2 and will pick up the Infernal.
And in these fights, you see Hanwha's problem. They have a lot of engage plans, but no disengage plans. And this time Jinx gets excited. This time Corki's there to lap up 2 kills. It's only a happy Earth this time, but the Manatee's smiling. I guess Warwick's not around. You get the involvements there. Deft only gets assists, but the cool thing about this Jinx is that Jinx was always IE Berserker Greaves, and then if you're passive procs, turns out you're in range, that the crits will come eventually.
So he just got locked up in the trap, and everybody else just had to disengage there. Not much they can do, a pretty broken fight after Deft just was able to get away from the depth charge.
Usually the Devour will be used for that, wasn't enough safety that even without flash, depth charge didn't spell the demise of the Jinx. No Infinity Edge yet, more crit. I guess looking for the Zeal item. Something actually nostalgic about seeing someone not build Essence Reaver and also actually build a Zeal item before 30 minutes into the game. But Deft's on the trend for that. Walks up, long range, and man, early game laning phase is a lot of difference. 8 turret plates to none. Nord, Bagel, nothing.
0.
I wouldn't have said that. Please keep on brand.
Okay. Well, I like the 0. I'm a big fan. But Hanwha Life, not really feeling good about that one. I mean, I tried to hype up how they're really aggressive, and I feel like they are at times, but some of the fights they take are just big fat zeros as well.
And also, it was Jinx against Sivir, so hard to get turret plates there. Corki against Azir. You can get turret plates there early, but there wasn't a mid lane focus. And then top lane was obviously a disaster, so wasn't going to happen there either. So, yeah, definitely something you very rarely, you almost never see 8-0. You might see like 3-1. 8-0 is a lot of bonus gold. It's a 4,000 gold lead with teamfight versus teamfight. The moment Jinx is locked in, it's only ever teamfights. So, Hanwha Life Esports, we talked about how actually, in spite of your usual expectations around double marksman, we actually liked Hanwha Life and their backline threat in the late game. The late game seeming far away with all the early advantage Kingzone have been able to pick up.
You know, a lot of LCK teams might be news to them that scaling is not always the answer, but sometimes winning the early game and having better plays. popping off in the solo lane.
So far, Vladimir has
Good
ghosted
enough.
to lane and tried to sustain himself up with heals. So I know that's what you do to cycle Unsealed Spellbook, and yet ghosting to Vayne is just, ghosting to lane is just so embarrassing. You know, we've all done it at level 12.
Yeah.
It's an awkward one. It feels like the walk of shame, right? I guess it's the jog of shame, the run of shame in some ways.
Yeah.
Do you have any other analogies? Like, what is like a life event or like a scenario that feels like when you have to ghost back to lane?
It's like, you know, when you're on the carousel and you try to go for that guy with the completed item, but instead you pick up the Braum with the Negatron cloak, and you nearly die because of it, just like Tall.
That was a very convoluted example, but I appreciate it. I put you on the spot.
Yeah.
You went straight to TFT, not life anecdotes with Valdez, clearly.
That's, you know.
Or maybe that's just your life recently. Maybe you've just been TFTing so much, that's all you got on the
Literally the only thing.
Don't you have a girlfriend?
I mean, yes, but I do have 2 monitors, too. They keep me distracted.
Damn, a girlfriend and 2 monitors. You lead a very full life.
Not a lot of playing the outside game recently, that's for sure. Especially with a little bit of a sickness that I picked up. I can feel it slowly creeping in as the broadcast comes along.
Wait, didn't you go to the PC Bang to play some TFT at some point?
No, no need for that. As, you know, those 18-hour queues for the PBE were, you know, I couldn't really spend that money on the PC Bang.
Funnily enough, our clientele won't relate, but the LCK Korea clientele would be a very hot topic because TFT got delayed. It was supposed to be released this morning on Korean server.
Yeah.
It wasn't, and as you can imagine, the Koreans more than a little bit peeved.
I wonder how many people took off work and school for Friday, and they're like, I'm going to play TFT all day long.
Oh my god, if you take the day off to play video games and you can't play the video game,
literally the worst.
the worst feel.
I mean, what do you even do? You make an NA
I got
account
nothing.
and level to level 10?
You just go to work. You're late and school late, I guess.
Yeah. But then you're like, maybe it comes out at 12. I don't want to miss the 12 p.m. release.
You got to cut your losses sometimes, and I think Hanwha Life or Kingzone will be feeling that before too long. It's the teamfight comp versus the teamfight comp. It's still that 4,000 gold lead. But is Tal strong enough for the screw it, kill death plan to be enacted? My first thought is still no, Valdez. I think there's another 10,000 gold needed in this game for them to say screw it, kill death.
Deft, much like Game 2, is kind of just going to be running at them. Nice flash engage here as Rascal in a lot of trouble. Not much he can do. Takes a long time to die, though, which means that Mono, not in the best spot, is going to go down. Now they're looking to turn it around here, but with Key showing his face, they're going to give them the benefit of the doubt and just take the 1-for-1.
Awkward fight start there. So much free damage.
Okay.
Onto the Nico. It's going again.
The ult's going to come out, and, well, see you later, Songyun. Not sure why you were all alone on the right side in front of that Rek'Sai.
Yeah, it was the Rek'Sai Tremor Sense that was the big winner there, and it just became so trivial for them to pick it up. It's the Prey Seeker and takes him down. We had Void Seeker and Prey Seeker in this series, so it's been hard, but I'm trying to keep myself honest. Kingzone want to take this out of turret. That definitely makes it harder for Hanwha Life to find those flanks. The ult comes in.
Now Tall, thinking about it here, has a decent amount of damage. The Ignite comes in, and Lava with the follow-up, but is going to pay the price on the backside. So just another 1-for-1 with Cuz on the right side, killing Infernal.
And Def going down, no summoners, so he was always going to be condemned to death in the front line. Couldn't get excited because no other damage around him. And the split focus coming through from Kingzone. It's a little bit rough, but you watch what emerges at 20 minutes 35, and it's double Infernal with the Jinx comp. Here's that replay. The TP coming in was Des. I was kind of wondering why he was alone in the backline at an awkward spot. And then this was a very kind of strange fight to be true. And it wasn't actually Des. It was actually an interrupted teleport. Overall, definitely a very tricky fight that emerges 1-for-1. Let's watch the Songyun catch, though. Yeah, Tremor Sense, the MVP. There was no vision there, but they get Songyun anyway.
Just got to be careful to travel alone anyway. Definitely a bit of a mistake. You can see Hanwha trying to come in here and turn it around 2v1 with Lava coming in. And well, they get the 1 kill with the flash, but it's not worth it overall.
The Jinx death sound. Amusing. Very loud in that moment when there was a bit of silence around the rift. The hush around the stadium is kind of there here. Hanwha Life and Kingzone fans both not clear as to who will take down this series. To me, it's always how much Vladimir got. And Spellbinder might be the start. Remember, Nuguri rushed Spellbinder and then was popping off. And again, different game, different laning phase. But 6 CS up and Spellbinder coming in soon. We might be on the precipice of the Hemomancer just deciding team fights because 2-item Jinx has a Devour, a Prayer, and just nothing resembling a frontline.
Yeah, we'll see if Hanwha can get those big engages down, but so far it's been a very scrappy game. You're never really asking for too much action when it is Hanwha Life Esports here. Not scared to get in there and go for big dives, go for big plays as key.
Damn. That's the big damage.
You gotta be careful now. Nahyun hitting some of those item spikes.
Well, people from Hanwha Life caught in transition here as Rascal brings up a minion wave. Nahyun is not one to be trifled with.
You gotta be real careful with him.
Zoning Rocket from Deft, looking to interrupt back, I believe, towards the inner turrets, but Kingzone keep pushing on here, and Hanwha Life are stumbling, Valdez. This is a problem.
Seen the whole way, and now just taking a ton of poke damage here. But Kingzone will respect them and back away as Nahyun takes a cheeky mid-turret.
And this is one of those rare times where Teamfight versus Teamfight comp, there is actually something that separates the teams. Just a lot of class and macro from Kingzone, the sort of thing they were doing well in the Dam 1 series, but in the end, super plays from Showmaker were able to turn around. This was a much more straightforward thing where Hanwha Life would just run around and had to watch as multiple objectives go down. So definitely a guaranteed VOD review for them because it actually adds to some separation in the gold totals.
Yeah, it's definitely looking pretty good for the golds, and I was talking about item timing spikes. The Corki 404 not found, but he'll be found real soon when he shows up with 3 items. Just picked up that IE at 23 minutes. He's feeling pretty nasty right now.
I'm pretty sure the error is going to be enemy health bars and not the Corki not being found, because holy moly, he's going to do god tier damage, and Deft will enjoy it. One way to deal with having no frontline is just do so much damn damage that nothing is a frontline. And you know what? This Corki's, he's charted the right course. We haven't seen many Glad planes, but we might see this plane be very prominent.
Corki, he keeps a tight ship. He knows how to fly a good plane, as now we're engaging all up on the Deft. Even the flash on in, but he gets to safety with his own flash
first
here.
kill.
Here comes Rascal into the backside as there you go, the assassination. Good flash there at the end, but now Rascal.
Here's Corki.
In an awkward spot, but in goes Nahyun, as you mentioned, looking for the crit. He's going to get the one, but does have to back away after this one as okay, Tucson trying to take this one up and bait them in. And he will be able to, as everybody's going to go down on the side of Hanwha Life.
That was some tactical inting by Tucson. Goes straight onto the turret to tank it up because he doesn't care. He's so healthy. That was actually a very smart intentional use of a solo Abyssal Voyage. That one was nice. And Kingzone turn on to the Baron, and they've got the damage to kill it.
Not much that Hanwha can do when they don't have anybody on the Rift anymore, as now he's 7-0-4. Maybe pick up another half item. He's earned it.
And it turns out the original Aatrox minigame was the Jinx minigame, because it's all about that first kill, right? It's all about her getting access to just having the most movement speed, and it takes a while. Rascal can't catch Key with his flash, so doesn't get much out of his ult. Someone goes down. Jinx is still much more honest. She's still slowly walking in, and another shield comes up, and she still did not get excited from the Nautilus, who just kind of was able to claw through, but then diving into the Sun turret here, Tucson uses health bar, the heal also to keep him topped up, takes an unbelievable amount of turret shots. Budged Alistair on this Tom Kench when it comes to the turret. Kingzone escaped with the Baron. They already had double Inferno, and how about backing it up with double Cloud too?
We got the third one coming in too. The Crown Drake, if you will. to top them all off. We're able to spawn that here before the Elder. So King Zone just stacking up the objectives, and now they're just so far ahead with insane amount of damage in their composition. Even with that full-on hard engage, just because Tahm Kench exists. Will it even work? I mean, Deft doesn't have his flash anymore, but it's not just all about Deft anymore.
Doesn't help that every time Neon even like lightly brushes someone's hair, it's like a jump scare for the person who's receiving said physical contact. He is huge and was camping the frontmost brush next to this inner turret. Inner turret goes down, and yeah, it feels like King Zone have a lot of different ways to play. Notice that Tal doesn't have teleport right now. He's definitely staying on the grouping side. He's aborted his Spellbinder for more damage. He's working on a death cap, but he doesn't have it yet. So with no hat, he does feel less dapper than our usual 27-minute Vladimirs. King Zone pushing up this wave nice and slow on the bottom side here, waiting for Rek'Sai in the mid lane to have a 2-lane push.
And, you know, with their insane amount of poke, it just feels like, you know, timing will be what it is, but they're just playing with their food at this point in time. As Tal will have to come around for some kind of flank if he wants to help out on that bottom push. Otherwise, most likely this inhibitor will just fall.
Very hard, other than a full engage. Here we go.
They do get the Devour out of the Tahm Kench, but the exhaust comes in, and Tucson is just going to be that sacrifice as see you later. Where did he even go?
A pop like a pinata.
Couple of crits come out of Neon and Deft, and they just say goodbye. As now Lava going to do a bit of flexing as Rascal got a little bit too frisky himself.
All right, that was definitely some damage. We're not at the time where Vladimir can make that play, and the timing's there on the threading of the needle of the Tides of Blood W a little bit off. Kaz backs away. They're not going to take this inhibitor just yet, but the base broken for the side of King Zone.
Yeah, definitely could have been a bit cleaner overall with that Baron. They do get a nice chunk of gold and an extra kill on the Corki, but no inhibitors, as you mentioned.
King Zone have been smart about delaying waves, so they knew there would be some wave pressure as this play happens. So Tal comes in late. He's exhausted, so doesn't use ultimate, and then finds Neon Deft, so you think he'll be fine. Watch the turn here. R auto and 1 auto from Deft. He dies from 50% health, so that is some calculations that Tal was off on. King Zone able to largely make this stick, but Rascal disregarding some pretty crazy Azir damage. And Phantom Dancer and a stopwatch.
Yeah.
Turns out that the real legend wasn't the person gift wrapped the first kill in that bot gank. It's Neon 805, legendary Corki. And you know what? Definitely one you're going to remember because he is just jacked.
And now he does have that big package on the backside. You know, he's walking with a little bit of swag in his step. He's got something big right beneath him that he's carrying, so
I think he's
a little bit harder to fly the plane.
And he seems like he wants to share. I think he's proud of himself. Remember, he's legendary. He knows he's got the bling bling 1,000 gold if he dies. So let's see what he can do. Oh no, the pack is gone.
Oh.
I guess he's a grower, but not a shower.
It doesn't show for very long. It's a very quick event, for sure.
I mean, he's going to cut through the enemy front line pretty quick as well.
Nothing with the Corki lasts very long, unfortunately, in some parts of his life. But at least he gives him a good show while it lasts. So that's really what matters.
We just want to see the final show. We feel like the big show is going to be coming in front of us, and we're not talking about Big Show chokeslamming someone. Wrestling reference, by the way. We're talking about some explosive damage. I just want to see health bars pop, and the Vladimir whet my appetite, but there's more coming. You got nothing to say,
yeah,
do you?
I mean, you just you laid it all there on the table, and I was forced to stare at it. There's nothing. I could not avert my eyes, so thank you for that. Yeah, so King Zone taking a little bit here at 16,000 gold. It's all right. It's okay. It's not 20,000.
How about the 5,000 gold lead over the Azir that hasn't done particularly poorly this game for the Corki? I think he got in on crypto at the right time.
He bought the tip. We're mooning, guys. Just having a good time. Those the bouncing there from the Sivir actually does a nice amount of damage to Naehyun, who has to be careful about that.
Camp in the brush here, Hanwha Life. They want to face check, but even with this tankier lineup, they're finding it tricky. On the Baron is Cuz, but no one else is there. You kind of have to have someone auto-attacking it to get someone to face check here. Hanwha Life know what to expect, but even then, they can't necessarily be ready.
Freaking out a little bit there on the clone. It's cutting off the minion waves too. Kingzone playing around with them, trying to get a handle on this fight as now Lava just doesn't have any health.
That zap AD ratio and attack speed changed many patches ago, somehow relevant. Kingzone walk at the Baron. Their attacks are going to be super effective, that's for sure. TP from Hanwha Life, it's going to be too late anyway.
Rascal gonna shut down Key here. Bono not gonna come in on time as they're looking for the engage, but they gotta get out of here.
Rascal comes from the side, he's in a ward.
Yep. Trying to go off the hunts here, but Glacial Augment is pretty good to slow him down. As now with the Baron, Kingzone not able to force a fight, but definitely in a great spot.
Abyssal Voyage, level 2, nice range here, straight onto the inhibitor. They get something already, concussed up backs, one so far. Only going to be the one backstop, but that's all they need. They've got the Baron buff on the bot side and the minion wave at the perfect time.
As Cuzco 1v1 onto Tall up there on the top side.
He's winning.
Yep. Dodges that empowered Q and should be taking him out eventually. Okay, we'll get the zoom in here. Poor Tall, man.
The cameraman.
Yeah, well, nice amount of multitasking from him. He's got the APM. We all know about Jonah Strong looking for that flash. Naehyun just gonna laugh at him.
Oh!
As this is the real flash. Rascal getting into that back line. And he will set up the fight. As Kingzone now in a great spot to nearly end the game, but they're not gonna go for it just yet.
They got TPs, so they can TP onto a minion wave. Don't worry about the recalls here. TP number 1, TP number 2, and Corky says, I could do with a bow on top of my dapper suit.
Might as well. Always good to pick up that item. As now we're just flashing for the catfish who's laughing in your face as Hanwha will be going down here in 3 games to Kingzone. Well done to them as they will pick up the victory tonight.
In the end, Kingzone DragonX too strong for Hanwha Life Esports, but the manner in which they won is not the sort of play that will find them inroads at Rift Rivals. They aborted their original strategy and went to team fights. And there was some good, for sure. Definitely the best. The YouTube highlights, the 3 minutes of Game 2 and 3 was some fearsome stuff. And it's so cool to see Deft bring back his true spirit animal. A lot of people know the alpaca, but the real fans know about the Jinx. But from there was also a lot of misplays and a lot of things they will need to work on because FPX are arguably the strongest team in China, and they do lie in wait for Kingzone DragonX at Rift Rivals.
If they play a series like this up against them, I think it's safe to say that FPX